Greetings, Nick with Sweetwater here, and in today's lesson we're going to learn how to play the classic folk rock song Horse with No Name by the band America. This one right here. Yes, my friend, you're not seeing things, your eyes are not deceiving you. I'm actually playing an acoustic, and just so you know, I own one as well. Honestly, just not this one. I grabbed this beauty off the wall at the Sweetwater store for use in this video because, well, just like me, mine's beaten up. It's seen better days. The song we're going to learn today is one of the most memorable, yet relatively simple songs to play in rock. Just so you know, the single Horse with No Name was released way back in 1971 in Europe and then in early 1972 in America. So, simple math tells us that this hit song is now over 50 years old. Wow! Before we go any further though, I must quickly point out that this lesson is aimed at future guitar heroes of all ages who are just starting out on their journey to stardom. That said, some of the strumming patterns we're going to be looking at later could prove to be a useful little bit of revision for slightly more advanced players. Plus, if you don't know this song already, it's a pretty cool one to have in your arsenal in my humble opinion. Disclaimer stated, on with the show. Now, to a great many folk, myself included, the epitome of an easy song is one that only uses 3 or 4 open chords. And, as luck would have it, Horse with No Name has that trait well and truly beaten. Why? Because it essentially only uses 2 open chords for the whole darn song. And to make things even easier, we can hit all 6 strings in both chords too, like this. Yeah, like it. The first chord in Horse with No Name happens to be the very first chord that many of us learn, namely this 2-fingered beauty here, E minor. A mere 2 fingers. As you can hopefully see, I'm using my middle and ring fingers to fret the open E minor chord I'm playing. That said, if you want, you can use your first and second fingers instead, like this. Either fingering is good, my friend, take your pick. I'm personally going to stick with the middle and ring fingers, and what that means is this. My middle finger is at the 2nd fret on the A string, and my ring finger is on the exact same fret, but on the D string. Strum them together, and I've got my E minor. Before we go any further though, a quick word of warning. When you play this chord, make sure you're not inadvertently muting the G string with the underside of the finger fretting the D string, like this. Hear what I mean? You can't hear the G, so it's just a big E5 power chord. The minorism is gone, because what we've got is this. Yikes, muted. So it's just a bunch of E's and B's, so I've got to stand my finger up a little bit straighter, get that G string ringing, and the minorism reoccurs. Perfect. Can you hear the difference? Muted bad, non-muted good. That stated, time to learn the second chord, which is this one here. Now, as you can see, both my fingers have remained at the 2nd fret. They're just on different strings now. Let's check out where they've moved to. As you can hopefully see, my middle finger is now at the 2nd fret on the low E string, while my ring finger is at the 2nd fret on the G string. And the resulting chord sounds like this. That sounds really nice. Now, to go from the E minor shape to this shape, we literally do a jumping jack with our 2 fingers. Check this out. As you can see, my middle finger jumps up from the A string to the E string, namely towards the ceiling, while my ring finger moves down towards the floor from the D string to the G string, both fingers staying at the 2nd fret. So we go from this, jumping jack, got it? E minor, jumping jack, to the 2nd chord. Nice, really simple, just like exercising, which as you can see, I don't do at all. Anyway, pretty easy, right? And just so you know, if you decide to use these 2 fingers to finger the E minor, it's the same deal, you just do the jumping jack with those 2 fingers. So from this, jumping jack. And by the way, when you finger the second chord shape we've just learned, if you happen to mute the A string with the finger you're fretting the low E string with, like this, that's perfectly okay, because believe it or not, in my humble opinion, it sounds better when that string is muted. Check this out. This is a chord with the A string muted thus. So we've got mute. Sounds cool. We can of course have the A string ringing if we want, which sounds like this. But to me that sounds a little muddy, a little dark, so I tend to mute that. And I'm doing that for taste, not because of bad playing technique, I promise. So here we go. Yep, that sounds good. Now, each of these chords is played for one bar and then we change to the next one. So it's like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if you've never done this jumping jack move before, I recommend you initially only strum each chord once while you get used to the change, just like I've just done. Once again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then, when you've got that down, strum each chord 4 times and then make the change, just like this. And when you've mastered that and can do it with ease, it's time for us to throw in a cool strumming pattern or 3. So. First though, what is this second mystery chord called? Let's suss it out. Well, if you throw these notes into one of those handy-dandy chord naming programs you can find on the Googles, you'll see mind-boggling names such as F sharp 7, sharp 9, sus 4, sharp 5. What, really? And you might see this tongue twister too. A6, sus 2, sus 4, / F sharp? What? Yikes! To be honest, a somewhat simpler one I came across that I much prefer is this. D6, add 9, / F sharp. To be frank though, I invariably end up calling it the horse with no name chord. Or even simpler, a chord with no name. Get it? Call it what you will. It's a cool sounding chord, and it looks like this and sounds like this. Chord naming conundrum over, let's throw in a suitable chord strumming pattern into the equation. Let's take this one that goes down, down, up, up, down, up, and then repeats, just like this. Here it is one time. And one more time. Now, the easiest way to master a new strumming pattern is to mute all 6 strings with 2 of your fretboard fingers and then play it percussively like this. The reason for doing this? So you can concentrate 100% totally on the strumming hand and not worry about fingering any chords. Make sense? Divide and conquer, I say. Master the chord shapes first, then master the strumming pattern, and then combine the 2. Sounds like a plan, right? Anyway, once you've got this, let's throw in the chords and see what happens. The best way to learn this, start slowly and then build up speed sensibly. Remember, music and guitar playing are not a race. Now, once you've got the speed up to say this, now what you might be thinking at this point is this, hold on for a second, my last strum on the 1 chord is an upstroke and then I've got to go to the next chord immediately on the next downstroke. That's going to be really hard to do because the change is going to be really quick when I start approaching the actual speed of the song. Once again, like this. Yep, that is pretty fast, but fret not, my friend. There's a trick you can use that guitarists use all the time to make such changes possible. What you do is this, on that last upstroke before the change, you actually don't hit the chord, you hit the open strings, not a chord shape at all, while you're doing the change. That's your space to make the move. Confused? Let me try to explain by showing you what I mean by playing it really slowly and exaggerating the I'm not playing any strings with my fret hand at all on the last upstroke for the change movement. You ready? Here it is in slow motion. When I change from E minor to the chord with no name, it's a downstroke on E minor like this. followed by an upstroke on open strings with no fingers down, followed by a downstroke on the D6 add 9/F sharp chord with no name. Once again, like this. Now slowly that might sound more than a little odd and klutzy, but at speed, it's actually what you're used to hearing all the time. You just may not have realized until now. I know I didn't until someone said, hey, here's the secret. Here it is at speed, and you'll hear what I mean. Or hopefully won't hear what I mean. See, that upstroke with no chord held is so quick, it just goes by. It's almost like percussive. And it works. Hurrah! Now to close, let's learn a strumming pattern that's a little closer to the actual recorded version. Now if you listen carefully to the original, you'll hear that the strumming pattern is slightly different on the two chords. And here's my take on it. What I do when playing this catchy little bad boy is this. I play the E minor with a down, down, up pattern, just like this. And then I play the chord with no name with a down, up, down, up pattern, just like this. And one more time. As you may have noticed, when playing both patterns, I tend to focus more on the lower strings with the downstroke and the thinner strings on the up, like this. Or, make sense? Anyways. Here are those two strumming patterns again with the strings muted so I can concentrate solely on the strumming only. Here first is the E minor pattern. And again. And remember, use more than one finger. If I just use one finger, I might get harmonics when muting. Which actually sounds kind of cool, but we don't want that for this. We want... Now, here's the D6 add 9/F sharp chord with no name pattern, which is down, up, down, up. Here we go. And one more time. And now here are both together, back to back, while the strings are muted. One more time. And remember, as stated earlier, start slowly and then build up speed slowly but surely. I personally find that it helps for me to actually write out the pattern on a piece of paper. Just like this. But that's just me. Anyways, once you've nailed this pattern percussively, let's throw in the two chord shapes, and remember the upstroke before each change is you hitting the open strings while you perform the chord change. The magic trick. Here it is. And there you have it, amigo. Horse with No Name. A two-chord classic that happens to be a great strumming pattern framework too. Have fun with it. Anyways, I'm getting back on the horse I rode in, and I'm getting out of here. See ya! Thank you so much for being kind enough to watch this. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Click here for more videos like this, or start at sweetwater.com for all your music instrument and pro audio needs. Here's wishing you a simply splendid day. Adios, amigo. Say goodbye.
Goodbye.